When it comes to making money on YouTube, there's a million different ways to do it. Possibly the most lucrative way to do it is through YouTube automation. In today's episode, we'll be taking a look at some of these cash cow channels, and we'll talk about how much money they're making and how you can even go and create one yourself, and whether we think that it's a good idea or a bad idea to start one of these cash cow channels. All right, welcome to today's episode. How you doing today, Grant?
I'm doing great. I'm ready to figure out how to automate things, make some money without having to do any work. Let's
yeah,
hear about
and
this.
it happens overnight too, so don't forget that part too. So yeah. So anyways, what is YouTube automation? I'm gonna go ahead and spend a minute or two just kind of explaining what YouTube automation is. You've probably seen a few ads online for people trying to sell you courses about YouTube automation. So what it is it's basically where you go out and you hire a script writer, you hire a editor, you hire someone that can source clips like stock footage or just other kind of clips off of YouTube. And then you also hire a voiceover artist. So think about that. Script writer, voiceover artist, editor that sources clips. With those three pieces in place, you can create a video, right? It's a voiceover type video or a faceless type video where you're not going to put your face on camera. But with that, you can go and have that script writer write a script about any kind of topic that you want to come up with, have the voiceover record it, and then the editor is going to go ahead and put that video together. You launch it on YouTube. You didn't have to be on camera. You didn't have to say a word. And you can, I guess, build multiple teams to kind of release a ton of different kinds of topics and a ton of different videos, right? It's kind of like a numbers game where you release like 100 videos and maybe 5 or 20 of them end up doing well and getting you views. And there's a lot of different examples out there of this, kind of like the OG or the classic channel that's kind of maybe started this whole trend is a channel called Watch Mojo. Grant, have you ever heard of Watch Mojo?
I sure have. They're quite the meme factory. They are full of top 10 lists that are super ridiculous, and they seem kind of shameless. They have like top 10 Gilbert Gottfried moments. They released it presumably the day he died. It's like a good business, I guess, but they just kind of they're a money factory, a meme factory. They just pump it out.
Yeah, and like something that's so different about Watch Mojo compared to these other channels is like you don't know who is behind the channel. Like it's a team, obviously. They do a lot. They've been on YouTube since 2007, so that's when they actually created their channel, and they have over 21,000 videos. So at least on this podcast, Grant, that is definitely a record. 21,000 videos. Yeah,
Oh
and they're able to do that because, like I said, there's not just one person. There's probably multiple teams creating these videos behind the scenes where, they probably have somebody that comes up with the video topics. That's all they do is just come up with video topics, and then, multiple other people that write scripts and source the clips. And so when I'm talking about sourcing clips, I mentioned stock footage, and honestly, these YouTube automation cash cow channels, they don't really use stock footage. You could use stock footage and maybe like create some like motivational type videos or something like that. But what I'm talking about is sourcing clips from other YouTube channels or from other, I don't know, movies online, downloading a movie online and then using some clips from there, or downloading YouTube content and using clips from there. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, how do they get away with that without getting copyright strikes? And what it all falls under is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's fair use. Is that right, Grant? Fair use? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So from my understanding, this might have changed, but the last time I checked, you could use clips from other YouTube channels and stuff as long as the clips were under 7 seconds. So imagine me using a clip from another channel, just keeping it under 7 seconds. That's good to go. Or another way to do it would be to just make sure that you're modifying or adding value to the footage that you're using. So, you see reaction videos on YouTube all the time, right? Someone takes another person's video, they do like a little headshot of them in front of a green screen or something, talking and reacting to that video. And you might be thinking, well, how do they not get their channel taken down with, due to the fact that they're kind of stealing other people's content, and that's due to fair use. Is there anything you wanted to add to that fair use, or anything that you think might not be right there, Grant?
I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. The only thing I want to add is the word transformative. So you need to make something that is transformative in order to use this stock footage or footage that you pulled off YouTube. And what that means is you need to create something that is novel, that is new in and of itself. So, if you just take somebody's video and re-upload it, that is not transformative. If you take two people's videos, cut them in half, and then just kind of put them together, that's not transformative either. You're kind of just like splicing and creating some new stupid video that doesn't need to be there. Transformative means, like you're talking about a movie, and you take a bunch of clips from the movie that are each under 7 seconds, as you said, and then you kind of analyze the movie, and you're showing, well, in this scene, this character does X, Y, and Z. This is the scene where Bruce Willis, punches the guy in the face and saves the day on Christmas or whatever. And that's transformative because you're creating something that is different than Die Hard. You're using Die Hard's clips, but you're talking about Die Hard, and you have made a new piece of content.
Yep. Yeah. Very well said. So let's go ahead and take a look at Watch Mojo's channel. Now, most of these YouTube automation, although they're very big channels, are not on the level of Watch Mojo. This channel is unreal. I just think it's fun to share and look at the numbers just to see how big some channels get. So here I'm looking at, like I said, 21,000 uploads, 24 million subscribers, and 15 billion with a B views. So I mean, how many people are even on planet Earth? I don't even think there's 15 billion. I think it's like 7 or 4 billion or something like that.
This is like twice the amount of people on Earth have watched Watch Mojo.
That is so sad. That's so sad that our society and civilization is at that point now. But I'm looking at their viewer stats right now, and in August of 2019, they got 170 million views, which is crazy. I mean, just imagine how much power they have on this platform to do whatever they wanted, right? I mean, they could really, politically, they could spread messages, they could be planting all kinds of seeds. So be careful of your content diet, right? Like, what kind of input are you bringing into your brain every single day through content? Because there's good content and there's kind of like trash content out there. Their most recent month, they got 73 million views, so it's a big channel, like I said, and that's Watch Mojo. So we don't need to talk too much about that. Let's talk about another channel that I would really kind of say falls under this YouTube automation a little bit closer, and that's the Most Amazing Top 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at their social blade. They this is also a YouTube automation channel where they just make top 10 lists. And honestly, that's pretty much what these YouTube automation channels are. A lot of them are like top 10s, or maybe they have a niche, like maybe their niche is tech, but all their videos are like top 10 this, top 10 that, because they're trying to just keep the viewer engaged. But anyways, this channel here, the top 10 most amazing videos, something like that, it was founded in 2014, almost 2015. So that's only about 7 years. But they have 5,600 uploads, 7 million subscribers, 2.4 billion views. And, they're getting about 14 to 20 million views a month. And a channel like this is also uploading a ton. So you can do the math, but since 2015, they've uploaded almost 5.5 thousand uploads. So they have a team, and that's one of the reasons they say YouTube automation is because you can really pump out the content, right? Imagine you have 5 script writers and 5 editors and 5 voiceover artists. Well, you can release probably multiple videos a day with that kind of team. So, Grant, have you ever found yourself watching any kind of videos, any top 10 videos, or have you ever ran across any kind of channels like this?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, YouTube is kind of flooded with the top 10 content, right? And it's a weirdly appealing idea because I think people like lists. They want to see the build up. There's the build up to number one always. Like, oh, what's the top one gonna be? One of my favorites that I saw, I didn't actually watch the video because it looked so terrible, was called Top 10 Astral Projection Accidents. So I don't know if you're aware of what astral projection is. It's when you separate your soul from your body. you enter a state of meditation, and then you sort of travel around using your soul, and it flies around. And I'm not saying this is real or not. I'm just saying the idea that there's like 10 accidents that were some horrible. The thumbnail was super dramatic. It was like somebody lying mangled in bed or something. It was, I don't know how they got away with it. It was so funny. So
yeah,
funny.
and if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you'll see the actual thumbnails to this top 10 channel that I mentioned, and they're right along the same line you just mentioned, like almost unethical. like I'm looking at this one right here. It says top 10 terrifying experiments history wanted to forget, and the thumbnail is a picture of some sort of like animatronic toy or something that was in a movie, but it's definitely not a real terrifying, or it's not a real experiment that people did. It's just fake, right? So the ultimate clickbait thumbnails they have here. Some other video topics here, like top 10 extinct animals from the dark ages that scientists want to bring back to life. Like, no, the scientists don't want to bring these back to life, and the picture on the thumbnail is not a real creature. It's it's an illustration that somebody made of some fake dinosaur, dragon, serpent type thing. So anyways, this is kind of like the ultimate clickbait, and it's the ultimate topic. Like, the topic is part of the clickbait, right? Like, they're not making like, oh, the top 10 best soccer players. You know, they're making like top 10 sea creatures that came from the hell, from the depths of the sea, and blah blah blah. So you know, that I think definitely helps them get that click-through rate. And you know, if I clicked on one of their videos, and I'm not going to, and went through and read all the comments, I'm sure there's a lot of pissed off comments because the thumbnails are not delivering what the actual video is about.
Definitely. And those types of channels are definitely what I like to call 3 a.m. rabbit holes, where you're, for whatever reason, you're still awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. Your mind is racing. You're tired, but somehow not sleepy. And you just see some horrifying thumbnail of like an alien with elongated limbs. Top 10 experiments the government doesn't want you to know about. And then you click on it and you watch it, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, is this real? Is anything real? What is... And then it's like a weird dreamscape that these channels occupy in people's minds. I don't... it's a nightmarescape, but there's a market for it. I've watched these videos. People watch them all the time. I mean, we looked at their Social Blade. I kind of wish that these videos didn't do so well, but there is a sort of, I don't know, it's like fast food or something. It's like Snickers bars, or it's unhealthy for your mind, but oh, it tastes so good. So appealing in the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, a lot of people nowadays say like, you know, like TikTok is like mindless garbage content, you know, that you can, it's entertaining, but it's not really going to help you in life. And I think that kind of, these videos kind of fall along the same line. And, you know, I've known about this YouTube automation stuff for a long time now. And, you know, back in the day when I first started on YouTube, before basketball even, I was looking at maybe starting one of these channels. I saw a top 10 channel and I saw how many views it was getting. And I was like, man, I could do this. I could make a top 10 channel. I could get this many views. I could make a full-time living off this. And one of my buddies, who is a digital marketer, he works in the tech space, and I was telling him, hey, I'm going to start this channel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be the voiceover actor at first. Once I start making money, I'm going to hire it out, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, you don't think YouTube's going to take that content down someday? Like, that's like trash content. He's like, that's what Google did, right? Like, people on Google used to like rank for different search terms, like these kind of like garbage websites, little niche websites that might have like 10 blogs on them, but every single blog would rank and get traffic and they'd make money. But eventually YouTube changed the algorithm, and all those sites got delisted from YouTube. And when he said that, I was like, you know, I think you're right. I was like, I think YouTube will eventually take those down. And here I am 5 or maybe 10 years later, and YouTube still has not taken those kind of channels down. I don't know if, you know, my guess is that the AdSense revenue that these channels earn is much less, much lower CPMs than normal channels, but they still do exist. So so let's go ahead and let me tell you a story about how much these channels make and a little bit about my own journey with YouTube automation. So back probably about 4 years ago or so, my basketball training channel, I was kind of over it. I knew I wasn't going to be uploading anymore. I didn't want it to die off. I was following a few YouTube automation gurus on Instagram. And this is a sad story in a way. There was this guy who was making $100,000 a month off his YouTube automation channels. He had 12 different channels. He had a team, obviously, that he was using to build these channels. He was kind of like the video topic guy, and it was really at this point, I think it was factual. I think he was making $100,000. He would post all of his deposits. He was really like flashy on Instagram, and it was kind of annoying, but it worked on me because he did have a course that he was selling that taught you how to do it. I think it was like $1,000 or something like that. And I was, I actually got on the phone with him, and I was like, I'm considering buying this course. What can you tell me? And he explained to me, well, hey, since you already have this basketball channel, we can do the whole thing for you. You don't have to hire a scriptwriter. You don't have to go through the course. We'll just take over your channel for you, and we'll start doing some YouTube automation, uploading these really cool basketball videos to your channel. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that could be a way to keep my channel engaged and release some decent content on there. And okay, I paid the guy $7,000. Okay, I paid the guy $7,000. All right, here it is. Here's my channel, and he started creating content, or their team did. And at the first video they posted, I can't remember what it was. The second one was about like NBA players that had gone to jail. The third video they posted is why Pistol Pete is garbage or something like that. And so they were definitely going hard on these topics, just like we saw in these other ones where you're just like, what? That's such a bizarre out there topic. Like, it's almost unethical. It's not something I support. And so long story short, I ended up breaking ties with that guy. I lost all my money. I lost the $7,000. And yeah, and I deleted all the videos from my channel because I was getting comments from people like, what are you talking about? Like, what is this? Like, we thought you were better than that, And so I just had to take a hard look in the mirror, and I was like, well, my channel might not be getting that many views anymore because I don't upload, but at least it's a high quality channel that will exist in an evergreen way. And there's value on my channel, and it leaves a good taste in my mouth. I can sleep good at night. So, yeah, that was kind of my experience with YouTube automation.
Definitely. And this is definitely a lesson to me in making sure that if you are going to automate your channel, that you're on the same page with whoever you're hiring. Because, I think if you had kept releasing those videos on your channel, you probably would have been somewhat successful with that. You probably would have at least made your money back at some point. But you, of course, didn't want to be the guy who was uploading top 10 NBA players who went to jail. And I guess, they had a different idea of what success looked like or what respect looks like. So, I think your head was in the right place. It was just a matter of, making sure that the people that you're hiring think like you do, in the sense that they share the moral compass of your channel. That's key.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So I mean, for the listeners right now who's listening to this, I think they can probably get the gist. But what is your opinion, Grant, on these type of channels, these Watch Mojos, or these just these fully top tens, or any kind of YouTube automation channel? So number one, what's your opinion, and then number two, why?
So, YouTube automation in general, I think it's a great idea. I have nothing against it. As far as these top 10 channels themselves, I think, they're trashy, but they also serve a purpose. I've watched some Watch Mojo videos, and occasionally they are pretty interesting. Top 10 celebrities who ruined their careers. It's kind of interesting sometimes, and they're filling a need, and I think that's okay. I don't think there's any shame in that. I think for the most part they are under fair use. I don't know if YouTube will ever take them down, or if they do, it'll just be like some videos. I think it wouldn't be all of them. And yeah, as far as why I feel this way. I just think, YouTube is a bit of a wild west. You can do whatever you want on there as long as you're, not going overboard. You're not putting, dead bodies in the thumbnail or something just really horrifying that is gonna traumatize people. That's against YouTube's terms and conditions anyway. So I think this is fine. Like, if you want to automate, go for it. It's just like, try to put something out there that is helpful to people, that is not super trashy. I don't think you have to be this ridiculous, like with Watch Mojo or Most Amazing Top 10 with these horrifying thumbnails. I don't think you have to do that to get views. You can just hire talented people to use their talents and do well. I think, though, see, here's the danger with automating. The danger with automating is that you essentially are trying to be as uninvolved as possible in the day-to-day of running a channel. And when you do that, you kind of... There's like a laziness in that, You're kind of just winding up a wind-up toy and letting it go. And you don't know where that's going to go. And it takes a lot of effort, in my opinion, to maintain a cohesive and positive identity for a channel. Every video topic, you got to think about it twice, then you got to read over the script. Is this true? Is this too bombastic? Am I just making up lies? There's just so many things day to day, I think, that go into keeping a channel, moral, or keeping it educational, keeping it something that actually helps society. So if you're in that mindset of, I just want to automate, well, that is cool. You're going to make some money. But I think be careful. Like, put some effort into it, please. Be a little mindful of what you're putting out there. And dear God, it's important.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. To me, it's like, I don't like it. Like the top 10 most amazing, I don't like that. Watch Mojo, I don't like that. Like, what I think is okay as far as YouTube automation goes is, like, there has to be like a creativity aspect to it, right? Like, if you're gonna like hire a script writer to write like scary stories, and then you're gonna hire an editor to source like some scary clips and create a channel that has a bunch of scary stories and stuff like that, like, that's value, right? People are gonna go on there, they're gonna click on a video, they're gonna watch it, they're gonna enjoy it, and there's value there, and there's also creativity there. Now, if you're just gonna go and scour the internet and download and copy and paste every single scary story that you can find on the internet, and then hire a voiceover artist to record it and then create the videos, then I don't like that. I feel like that's like,
Agreed.
like that's like too copy and paste to plagiarism, right? That's plagiarism. So that's kind of where I draw the line. But yeah, I mean, if you have like a creative script writer that's gonna, even if it's not, too creative, but it's like, okay, you're gonna report on I don't know, just stories about football players that broke records, and then you go and tell the story of I don't know, some football player and his childhood, and then him leading up to the point where he broke a record or something like that, where it's not too much creativity. You're kind of just being a reporter, but to me, that's okay. That's that's pretty good content. And then also, I would say the point where I would draw the line, kind of like I did with my channel, was like, 10 NBA players that went to jail, and like some of them were talking about like sexual charges and stuff like that, and I was like underage girls, and I'm just like, what the, like, I know why they're doing that, because they were trying to create that controversy and get the watch time and all that, but that's kind of where I draw the line on that. Now, I will say, maybe it's not YouTube automation, or maybe it is YouTube automation, but there are ways to create faceless channels and do them in an incredibly tasteful way, and create awesome channels where you don't show your face. So that's kind of where I would like to talk now. And these could be automated, because it could be a business guy who hires an animator who also hires the script writer and the voiceover, and they create like an animated channel. So that's what I'd like to share right now is is and I can't pronounce this. It's a German channel. It's called like Curse Gesagt, but
Curse.
yeah, but it means in a nutshell. Okay, I'm pretty sure that's what it means is in a nutshell. So I'm gonna go ahead and share their channel. And this is an animated channel. It's done very well, and I've personally watched it myself. I enjoy the videos. So let me go ahead and just bring that up right now, and we'll also take a look at their Social Blade. But what's your opinion on these thumbnails?
I think they're beautiful.
Awesome.
They're really unique. Like, I mean, you have this one on the immune system. I don't know if people can see it, but it's like a cartoon version of somebody's like body and nervous system, and there's like a bunch of kind of cells in the background that look like viruses or something. And it's just very it has its own style, but it's still really professional looking and super colorful. I think they're beautiful. Like, you can't have better thumbnails.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. These are probably in the top 1% of thumbnails I've ever seen. And you know, this, like I said, this is an animated channel, so they have an animator. And if you don't know anything about animation, it takes a ton of time to do and a ton of work. And these videos are 10 minutes long each, so they somehow have found an animator that they can pay an affordable rate to, because to make a 10-minute animation is thousands of dollars. And, you know, like, for example, the topics on this channel are how the immune system actually works. And that's an interesting topic, right? Because I don't know how the immune system works. I would love to know how it actually works. And I would love to see it through an illustrated video that can really, you know, dive deep in not just some stock footage, but like literally show inside of your body through an illustration. So it's a really cool channel. Some other topics here are like worst nuclear accidents in history. Can you upload your mind and live forever? What is intelligence? Where does it begin? So let's go ahead and take a look and just see what kind of numbers this channel is doing. It was created in July 9th of 2013, and it only has 156 uploads. So yeah, wow. Animation channels, right? This is almost 10 years, about 9 years old. Animation channels, like we said, takes a lot of work. So their upload schedule's got to be twice a month or maybe once a week if they're really got a big team. But they got 1.9 million views and 18 million subscribers. So this is a huge channel. You know, on month to month, they're getting about 36 million, 58 million, 21 million, all the way up to 103 million views in just a month. So super successful channel. You know, the Social Blade earnings are never right, but it says $86,000 to $1.4 million per year that they're earning. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the middle there. And that's just off the ad revenue. So is there any other illustration channels, Grant, that you know of that you watch that are interesting?
I mean, there's a lot of like animated channels. There's Meat Canyon. He has a very grotesque animation style. So in that sense, it's illustrated. I think there's also one called the Histographic Show or something like that. They talk about history, and it has a sort of similar animation style to In a Nutshell, where it's kind of like clip art-y, but it looks way better than clip art. And it's like I learned a lot, and it's very engaging stuff. Like this stuff works if you have the capital to start it up.
Yeah, and I've seen that channel. I think it might be called like the Infographic, something like that. But I have seen that channel too. So, and yeah, and you know, these channels do fall under YouTube automation because of the fact that you know, there's not one creator behind these channels, right? Not one person went and created 156 animated videos there. It's a team, so it does fall under YouTube automation. But there are also animated channels where it's not a team, where it's a solo creator who does the script writing, the voiceover, and actually animates the entire video. One that I can think of is called like something Dom, where he just talks about, it's like Dominic or Dom or something like that. He just talks about life experiences kind of in a funny comedic way. And you know, I remember just one joke he made. It was talking about bugs, like, when do you decide if you're going to kill a bug or let a bug live? And he's like, well, it just kind of depends. Like, if there's a bug in my room and it's up in the corner of my room, like, that's fair game. As soon as that bug crawls down onto my bed, he's dead. He's dead. Or if there's a bug outside, I'm gonna let him live. But as soon as they invade my privacy a little bit, then that's when they die. So I thought that was a funny joke that I remember. But back to YouTube automation. So yeah, these illustrated channels are pretty cool. They do great because the watch time. There's not just a talking head video, somebody sitting in front of the camera talking. That can get boring at times. But with these ones, they're very engaging. I'd like to take a look at one more YouTube automation cash cow channel. And this one is not in a top 10. It's not an illustrated or an animated channel. It's not a Watch Mojo channel. It's called Tech Zone. And I'll go ahead and share it onto the screen right now. We can take a look at all the numbers and then kind of give our final takes on YouTube automation here in a few. So,
right on.
Tech Zone. Okay, I'm looking at the thumbnails. I'm seeing a whole bunch of, looks like different little flying helicopters, miniature flying helicopters, some sort of cars, a lot of like vehicles here, and a lot of crazy thumbnails. Like one title I'm looking at here says "Amazing Bikes That You Should See," and there's a picture of a giant wheel on like a bicycle type looking thing, and it's pretty clickbaity. But this channel here, if I'm looking at it, has 3.5 million subscribers. So what do you think about this, Grant? What do you think about this kind of automation, YouTube automated channel?
I mean, it seems more wholesome than the ones that we've looked at, but with the in a nutshell, seems pretty wholesome, or at least wholesome enough. But this is it seems pretty straightforward. Like their thumbnails are reflective of what's actually in the video. It's not like they're just making stuff up. It seems like they actually have found a way to share information that is useful and good, and they have automated it. And I think that's to be applauded. Like, I mean, this shot right here of, for those who can't see, it's like a giant ship and there's an oil rig. And I don't know, it's like the scope of just this shot is incredible. I mean, it's just interesting in and of itself. And so the title is "This is how oil is extracted in the ocean." Like, this is just interesting information that I wouldn't have otherwise known if I hadn't watched this video. And, I think this just goes to show you there are legitimately interesting things in the world that aren't spooky or kind of on the edge of being untrue. There's plenty that you can do that is, actually feeding the minds of our children and our people. And that makes me feel good. Kind of make me feel positive.
And this kind of, it serves a purpose, right? If you're really interested in tech and like, vehicles and stuff, like, you would subscribe to this channel because you would probably find these videos entertaining. And so I guess it does serve a purpose. I'm not too fond of it just because it's a little bit too blatant to me that this is like a straight YouTube automated channel, meaning where you click on the video, it's just straight voiceover. I don't know. It's just, for me, maybe it's because I can tell, but like when I click on a channel and I'm like, oh, I want to check out this video, it looks interesting, and I click on it, like normally I'm thinking that I'm going to get like a personality on screen, like a normal YouTube video, right? That's going to teach me about something. And then when I hit this one, it's just like footage and the voiceover. It's just kind of like, it's like, I get it. It serves a purpose. People that like tech would like it and they would subscribe to this channel. But like for me, who knows kind of like behind the scenes and what's going on here, it leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. But yeah, I mean, the channel's, the channel's doing well. I mean, it's got, since 2016 is when it was created, it's got 880 million views. It's got 1,000 uploads, 3.5 million subscribers, and it's doing about 22 million views a month, 20 million, 25 million. So it's getting, these channels do a ton of views, and part of the reason is they have a huge library, right? They have 1,000 videos in their library, which are all getting recommended out, So you go and watch one of these videos all the way through. The next time you log into YouTube, there's going to be another Tech Zone video that's being recommended to you. So kind of just like a never-ending cycle of getting views. So, okay, cool. I'll go ahead and talk about one last style of YouTube automated channels, which is kind of a weird one. It's a little bit different than all these other ones. and this is like a comparison channel. So I can't pronounce this one either. It's called like Regar Comparisons. And every single video is just, I can't explain this, but it's just like it's like a timeline. Like it's a timeline of that's going across the screen and giving you like data. It's giving you information about different things. So here's one right now. It's comparing different things. Mr. Beast giveaway comparison. So I'm going to see an ad here, but in this video, it's going to show me all the different giveaways that Mr. Beast has done and probably how much they were and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hitting an ad right here. We'll have to edit this out. Okay, so here I am on the video, and it's showing Mr. Beast's very first giveaway was $15, and it's just using like some motion graphics. The second one was $25, and then in January of 2018, he gave away $200. In August of 2017, he gave away $300, and it's just going through. Someone just had to do some serious research here, and they're just going through and just documenting and giving the information of how much his giveaways were over the years. So what's your opinion on this one, Grant? This is a little bit different.
This is proof to me that there is an infinite number of niches in this world. Whatever you can think of, there's a good chance that you can monetize it and you can turn it into content. I think that's interesting. The progression of Mr. Beast's giveaways. I mean, starting with $15 and ending with private islands, it's genius stuff. And then even looking at some of these video titles, highest HP characters comparison, parentheses, in gaming. It seems like they do kind of cater to a sort of gaming-ish audience, like gaming adjacent maybe. Flamethrower size comparisons. I feel like gamers would appreciate that perhaps more than a lot of people. And I guess it's inspiring. I guess it's it's cool. I dig it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at this channel because they're not trying to be something they're not, right? They're not trying to say, oh, clickbait this, clickbait that, and then when you click on it, it's just a bunch of garbage footage and then, a couple motion graphics that say number 1, number 2. So there's actually like something to it, right? There's some informational value to these videos, and the channel's doing well. It's only got 107 uploads, so not a ton. It's got 2 million subscribers and 680 million views. So I mean, if you were to say like, okay, how much AdSense revenue? If you did the math on that, that's significant, right? This is a full-time income off this channel, off these 107 videos, and they're getting about 8 million, 5 million, 6 million. 5 to 8 million views a month. So it's an interesting thing, and not for everybody because it probably takes a lot of research and stuff to put out this kind of content. But just another example of YouTube automation. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We've talked a little bit about like the right way to do it, the wrong way to do it. I've told you that I've seen people making as much as $100,000 a month off 12 different channels. We've also talked about or we haven't talked about, but there's also a lot of other like YouTube automation gurus who claim to be making $30,000, $50,000 a month off all these different channels, which is pretty crazy. So Grant, I guess my last question to you before we kind of get near the end of this episode is, if you were to start a YouTube automated channel today or tomorrow, off the top of your head, what kind of topic or what would the angle be of that channel?
It would probably be video game centered, and I would stick to the top lists, whether it's top 5 or top 10. I would stick to top 5s and top 10s, okay? So this is total shitpost territory, like no shame. It would just be top 10 gaming whatever. Top 10 villains in gaming. Top 10 hottest girls in gaming. Top 10 times you saw the big monsters that were scary in gaming. I would just be that. And I think it would do stupidly well. And one thing I've learned from this podcast today is you really don't need high production value. I mean, we were watching Tech Zone with the ships, and yeah, the shots were very cool. But as you said, the voiceover was a little drab, and You don't have to be amazing to do this. Like, it just has to be good enough and informational enough and interesting enough. And then when you put enough content out there, and most of these channels, by the way, are posting like once, twice, 3 times a day sometimes. And that's the key, is you just kind of pump out stuff that is good enough. It racks up that watch time. It gets that clicks. So yeah, it would be just, honestly, it doesn't even matter what the topic is. Like, sure, I chose gaming, but that's just, it has a big enough demographic. I know gaming, obviously, but it kind of doesn't matter what it is. Just top 10 whatever's and make a billion videos. That's it. Hire people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And you know what? We're talking about kind of like, oh, some of this stuff is a little garbage, a little, we're not too fond of it. But it's actually better than some of the stuff that I've even seen in the past. Like, I've seen YouTube automated videos where the voiceover was actually just like AI reading the script, right? Like, you can use like different software to where like the software will read your script for you and create a voiceover, but it sounds like a robot. And I've seen YouTube automated channels that use that, and I'm just like, and they're getting millions of views. I'm like, oh. And it's just sad because I feel like the people that watch those videos don't even know it. Like, they don't even realize like that's a robot reading the script to you right now. They're just like, voice sounds a little off, but I'm kind of digging the video. So they watch it, you know. But yeah, I think the top 10 video game thing, I think that's anybody wants to steal that, go and steal that, because like there's so much video game footage out there. You could source it. Like, you could find what you need to find to create the videos that you'd want to create. You know, the video game niche on YouTube might be the biggest niche. It might be the most watched niche. And so yeah, I think that's a great idea. For me, I would stay in my lane over here. If you're going to stay in your lane, I'll stay in mine and say I would create maybe like a sports one. I think, on Sports Center on ESPN, every single day they're doing top 10 plays, right? So if you could stay updated with that and create your own top 10 of the week, which is different than theirs, there could be opportunity there. And I think that would actually be kind of entertaining and valuable, right? Like the top 10 plays that you won't see on ESPN. That'd be cool. I like that. I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe you should. Future channel idea by Augie Johnston. Here we go.
It's my first of my 12 that I'm going to create. No, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather, for me personally, I would rather get on camera or I don't know. But to those that are listening, hopefully this episode gave you a little bit of hope, a little bit of faith that even if you don't want to step onto camera and be on camera, that you too can create a very successful YouTube channel using voiceovers, using fair use footage, and you could just make a huge channel yourself. So there's a million different niches out there. There's a million different ways to do it. The most important thing is that you just get out there and start creating videos. With that said, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, you can subscribe there as well. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.